Documentation can be done in a variety of different ways. The way that we felt most comfortable is to have a clipboard and our paper, and we transcribe what students are saying orally, word for word, so that we have, I guess, an entry into that moment, and we can reflect upon it. We can build in those next steps. But another way that we use documentation could be students' work samples, so what they're communicating through their graphic representation. We're also occasionally taking photographs. We're using the flip cam for video, and those decisions are very conscious based on the task that we're about to complete within the inquiry. But no matter what, we're always trying to record and save that moment, because for us it acts as our assessment.
And sometimes when Joanne is doing her inquiry, I will videotape what she's saying, what she's doing, so that sometimes it's hard to write everything on paper, and then afterwards we'll go back to it and look at it, and then we'll try to figure out where our next steps from there.
And what I really love about documentation is if I can't be directly at that amazing conversation that Julie's having around the flower inquiry, I can still go to her binder and I can see what she transcribed in the conversation, or I can watch that video footage, or I can see the photographs. It really tells the story of the learning. Now, that being said, we have been collecting more documentation data than we expected, so we work a lot together on editing what we're going to share, but we found that having a binder and keeping all that raw data together really helps us to piece it all together. And it doesn't always look beautiful, but it represents what happened.
And I think through documentation, I don't think it's an individual journey. I think it's really important that, you know, whoever your team is, that you talk through the documentation and give each other ideas. I think it's really important, because sometimes I think we're stuck and we don't know where to go next or what to do, and or what good I guess information to take out of there, or what to assess. So I find that talking to someone is really important to help us to really clear our minds and try to figure out what's the best form of assessment and documentation that we can use.
And just to build on that, it really is that listening piece, that observation, then it's the documentation, and then the interpretation is wonderful, because the two of us can look at what's been documented and interpret what to do next. In our morning meetings, we share documentation. Sometimes we project an image onto the screen. We might also project a video clip, but often it's just showing an inquiry binder with a few photos, or even reading out those pivotal learning moments so that the other children can hear. And I think what was really helpful for us is, if we don't have the opportunity to type out what students are saying, the typing, we would bold print those really key moments of learning, but we just highlight on our own notes, and then those highlighted key learnings are the ones that we would share in the meeting. And we don't bombard our students with all the documentation from the previous day. It might just be one photo and 2 questions that they came up with.
We have a different binder for each inquiry, and in the binders it has conversations of the notes that I've taken or Joanne's taken of what the children have said, or even our thoughts of what the next steps that we would like to take. And also in the binder we have photographs of the children. And the thing is too, I think the big thing is a lot of, it takes a lot of time. You know, I can't sit there and type everything, but not everything is typed in there. We just write down what we think, anecdotal notes or observations, and then it's all rough, and then we just stick them in there. And then there's some I may go retype, but then there's some we just keep in the binders.
And it's been a really conscious decision on our part to have the binders, and we've felt that it makes visible the learning that happens in the classroom on a day-to-day basis, whereas if everything was on our flip cam, or if everything was on our laptop, wonderful, beautiful photos, it's very difficult when a parent walks in, an administrator, a visitor, to say, oh, hold on one moment, I'm going to get my laptop, and sift through all the photos and try to find that one to share. But if it's in the binder, whether it's neatly typed or written, you can easily find and share that with someone.
And then we also have the children's work in there too.
Yeah.
And then sometimes what we would do is, I know that the children really want to take the picture of whatever they drew, so we would photocopy it for them, and then we would keep the copy in our binders.
And the binders are also organized in a very similar fashion. They have titles, they have the guiding questions in the front. They also have our inquiry planning template where we consider our curriculum and our assessments so that anyone visiting could take a look at, where have we projected for this inquiry to go.